General Kethver stood in front of the giant screen in the war room. His 4 arms hung loose at his sides. His green skin had turned pale. The other alien commanders sat around the long metal table. They all stared at the same screen. Spoke. The screen showed empty space where the Zephyrian fleet used to be. 78 massive warships. Gone. Destroyed in less than 6 hours by creatures that most of the galaxy considered weak and stupid. Humans. Play it again, Kethver said. His voice came out as a whisper. The recording started over. They watched. Human ships attacked the Zephyrian fleet. The humans had only 12 small ships. The Zephyrians had 78 big ones. It should have been easy for the Zephyrians to win, but nothing about this battle made sense. Commander Zixtel pointed at the screen with one of her tentacles. Look at this part. The human ship is badly damaged. Its engines are failing. Does it do? Everyone watched as the small human ship turned toward the biggest Zephyrian battleship. The human ship picked up speed. It was going to crash into the enemy ship on purpose. The crew is still alive in there, said Admiral Vorthak. His voice shook. Why would they do this? The human ship hit the Zephyrian battleship. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The explosion was so big it damaged 3 other enemy ships nearby. Computer Kethver said. How many humans died in that attack? 143 crew members, the computer answered. Kethver felt sick. 143 beings had just killed themselves to destroy one enemy ship. In all his years as a general, he had never seen anything like it. The next party said. The recording continued. Another human ship was surrounded by 5 Zephyrian vessels. The human ship was much smaller and weaker. It should have surrendered. Instead, it started spinning. It spun faster and faster while shooting at all 5 enemy ships at the same time. How are they not getting dizzy? Asked Zixtel. Oh, no species can handle that much spinning without passing out. The spinning human ship somehow managed to destroy 2 of the enemy ships before it was finally blown up. But even as it died, pieces of the human ship hit the other 3 enemy vessels and damaged them badly. Computer Kethver said, Analyze the human battle tactics. What is their strategy? Computer was quiet for a long time. Finally it spoke. Unable to determine strategy. Human actions do not follow any known military patterns. Their behavior appears random and self-destructive. Admiral Vorthak leaned forward. Random? But they won the battle. Yes, the computer said. Not despite. Using tactics that should have resulted in total defeat, the humans achieved complete victory. Kethver watched the rest of the recording. He saw human soldiers doing impossible things. When their weapons broke, they threw pieces of their own ships at the enemy. When their ships lost air, they put on spacesuits and jumped from ship to ship to continue fighting. Some humans even rode on the outside of enemy ships trying to break in through the hull with simple tools. Look at this, Zixtel said. She pointed to a part where a human soldier was floating in space. His ship had been destroyed. He was badly hurt. But instead of calling for help, he was using his emergency rockets to fly toward an enemy ship. He planned to attack it by himself. Has no weapons, Vorthak said. His suit is damaged. He will die in minutes. Why is he still fighting? They watched the human soldier reach the enemy ship. He started hitting the hull with his bare hands. It should have done nothing. Somehow, he found a weak spot and managed to break through. The enemy ship lost air pressure and had to retreat. The human soldier died from his wounds a few minutes later. But he had forced an entire enemy warship to leave the battle. Kethver sat down in his chair. His legs felt weak. Computer show. Me, the final moments of the battle. The last part was the strangest of all. 3 human ships were left. They were facing 20 Zephyrian vessels. The humans should have run away. Instead, they flew straight at the enemy fleet. But they did not attack right away. First, they sent a message. The message played over the speakers in the war room. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Defiance. To any Zephyrian ships receiving this message, I want you to remember something. You came to our space and attacked our people. You thought we would be easy to beat because we are new to space travel. We're wrong. We are humans. We do not give up. We do not surrender, and we do not forget. Remember this day. Remember what humans can do when you threaten what we love." Then the 3 human ships attacked. They flew in patterns that made no sense. They spun and rolled and dove in ways that confused the enemy targeting systems, used their own destroyed ships as shields and weapons. They fought until every human ship was gone. But when the battle ended, only 6 Zephyrian ships were left out of 78. And those 6 ships were too damaged to continue fighting. The recording ended. The war room was quiet. General Zixtel said slowly, "What do we do about these humans?" Kethra stared at the empty screen. He had fought in wars across the galaxy for over 200 years. He had seen every type of warrior and every kind of battle tactic. But he had never seen anything like this. These humans did not fight to win. They fought like they were already dead. They used their own deaths as weapons. They turned their weakness into strength by doing things that no sane species would ever do. "Computer," he said, "what is the human word for warriors who fight without fear of death?" Searching, the computer said, "The closest human term appears to be berserker or kamikaze. Both refer to fighters who accept death to achieve victory. And how many humans are there?" Current estimates suggest 8 billion humans on their home planet, with several million more spread across their colonies. Kethra felt cold. 8 billion beings who fought like this. 8 billion creatures who could turn any battle into a nightmare by simply refusing to fear death. General Vorthak said, "Do we attack them? Do we try to make peace? What do we do?" Kethra stood up slowly. He looked around the room at the other commanders. They all waited for his answer. "We learn," he said finally. "We learn everything we can about these humans, because if we ever have to fight them again, we need to understand what we are really facing." He paused and looked back at the screen. "And then we pray to whatever gods we believe in that we never have to find out what 8 billion of these creatures can do when they are truly angry." Commander Zixtel crouched. Behind a rock formation on the surface of Zarian 7, the small moon was covered in red dust and sharp stones. Her mission was simple. Watch the human soldiers and report back to General Kethfer. Learn how they fight. Find their weaknesses. She'd been watching for 3 days now. What she saw made no sense. 12 human soldiers held a position at the top of a small hill. They had built walls from metal scraps and rocks. Below them, over 300 Zephyrian troops tried to take the hill. The Zephyrians had better weapons. They had more soldiers. They had air support. The humans should have been dead on the first day. Zixtel looked through her scope at the human position. She could see them moving around behind their walls. They were still alive, still fighting. After 3 days of constant attack, "This is impossible," she whispered into her communicator. "No species can fight this long without rest." Her assistant, Lieutenant Veximer, crawled up beside her. "Commander, the Zephyrian general wants to know why his troops have not taken the hill yet." Zixtel pointed toward the human position. "Watch." A group of 50 Zephyrian soldiers charged up the hill. The humans started shooting. Their weapons were simple. Basic laser rifles that any soldier in the galaxy would recognize. But the humans used them in ways that Zixtel had never seen. One human soldier was clearly wounded. Green blood from a Zephyrian weapon had burned through his shoulder. He should have been in a medical unit. Instead, he was using his good arm to fire his weapon while using his wounded arm to throw small explosive devices. "He should be unconscious from pain," Veximer said. "That wound would put any of our soldiers out of action for weeks." The wounded human threw another explosive. It landed perfectly in the middle of the charging Zephyrians. The explosion scattered them. The human then picked up his rifle and continued shooting. He was still smiling. "Did you see that?" Zixtel asked. "He is smiling. He's badly hurt, and he is smiling." Another human soldier ran out from behind the wall. Enemy fire hit the ground all around him. He should have been scared. Instead, he was laughing. Actually laughing as he rescued a wounded teammate and dragged him back to safety. "Computer," Zixtel said quietly. "Analyze human stress response during combat." "Human stress response shows high levels of adrenaline and endorphins," the computer replied. "These chemicals appear to reduce pain, sensitivity, and increase physical performance. However, current human levels are beyond normal biological limits. What does that mean? These humans are experiencing a combat state that should be impossible to maintain for more than a few minutes. They have been in this state for 72 hours, as Ixel watched the battle continue.
Oh.
The Zephyrians sent wave after wave of soldiers. Up the hill, each time, the humans pushed them back. But the humans were running out of ammunition. She could see them collecting weapons from fallen enemies. They were using Zephyrian guns that they should not even know how to operate. One human soldier picked up a Zephyrian plasma cannon. The weapon was designed for creatures with 4 arms and was much too heavy for a human. The soldier found a way to prop it on some rocks and fire it anyway. He destroyed 2 Zephyrian vehicles before the cannon overheated and broke. "He know how to use that weapon?" Veximer asked. "Humans learn fast," Zixtel said. "Much faster than we thought." The sun was setting on Zarian 7. The 4th day of battle was beginning. Zixtel expected the humans to be exhausted, expected them to finally give up. Instead, she heard something that made her blood freeze. Singing, the humans were singing. The melody was simple but strong. The words were in the human language, but the computer translated them for her. "We are the ones who stand when others fall. We are the ones who fight when hope is gone. We are human, and we do not break." "They are singing a war song," Veximer said. "In the middle of battle, with no hope of rescue, they are singing." The Zephyrians heard the singing too. Zixtel could see them hesitating. Some of them actually stepped backward. They were afraid. 300 well-armed soldiers were afraid of 12 humans who had been fighting for 4 days straight. As the night fell, the attacks stopped. The Zephyrians pulled back to regroup. Zixtel used her scope to look closer at the human position. What she saw made her hands shake. The humans were taking care of their wounded. They shared their food and water. They cleaned their weapons. They reinforced their walls. They were still talking to each other, still joking, still acting like they were having fun. One human soldier was badly burned down his left side. His armor was melted. His skin was damaged. He should have been crying in pain. Instead, he was telling a story that made the other humans laugh. Actually laugh. Veximer Zixtel said slowly. "Record everything, every detail. Command needs to see this." "Yes, Commander." "But what are we seeing?" Zixtel did not answer right away. She watched a human soldier who had lost his helmet. Was covered in dirt and blood. His hair was burned, but his eyes were bright and alert. He looked like he could fight for another week. "We are seeing something that should not exist," she finally said. "We are seeing warriors who get stronger. As they get weaker, soldiers who fight better when they are hurt. Beings who find joy in impossible situations." On the 5th day, the Zephyrians brought in heavy artillery, massive guns that could level buildings. They bombarded the human position for 6 hours. Straight, the hilltop disappeared in smoke and fire. When the bombardment stopped, everyone expected silence. The humans had to be dead. Nothing could survive that much firepower. Then they heard it again, singing. The humans were still alive, still fighting. And now they sounded angry. The final assault came on the 6th day. Zephyrians sent everything they had, tanks, aircraft, and over 500 soldiers. It was enough force to conquer a small city. The battle lasted for hours. When it ended, the hilltop was quiet. Zixtel waited an hour before moving closer. She expected to find bodies. Instead, she found something impossible. The human position was empty. The soldiers were gone. But so were most of the Zephyrian attackers. The ground was covered with enemy weapons and equipment. The humans had somehow escaped during the final battle, and they had taken most of the enemy weapons with them. There was a message carved into a rock at the top of the hill. The computer translated it. "We were here. We held this ground. Out. We will be back. Signed, the 47th Human Infantry Squad. Earth remembers." Zixtel stared at the message for a long time. 12 soldiers had held off hundreds of enemies for 6 days. Then they had escaped with enemy weapons and equipment. They had turned a hopeless defensive battle into a victory. Commander Veximer said, "What do we report to General Kethfer?" Zixtel looked around at the battlefield. She thought about the wounded human who kept fighting, the The soldier who learned to use alien weapons in minutes. The warriors who sang while they fought? We report the truth, she said. Tell the general that we found something more dangerous than any weapon. We found humans who think that being outnumbered just makes the fight more interesting. She paused and looked back at the carved message. And we tell him that if 12 humans can do this, we need to know what 8 billion of them can do. Admiral Vorthak stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. His ship was the largest and most powerful vessel in the galaxy. It was 5 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy entire planets. Around him, a fleet of 200 warships waited for his orders. They were all running away from 37 human ships. Admiral, his second-in-command, said, "Humans are still following us." Vorthak looked at the main screen. The human fleet was much smaller than his. Their ships were ugly and simple compared to his beautiful vessels. But for the past 2 days, these humans had been chasing his mighty fleet across 3 star systems, and they were winning. How is this possible? Vorthak asked himself. We have better weapons, better shields, better everything. The answer came. When the humans attacked again, most species in the galaxy fought in predictable ways. They formed neat lines. They followed battle plans that made sense. They tried to protect their ships and crews. Computer systems could easily predict what they would do next. Humans did none of these things. Incoming human attack formation, the tactical officer announced. Pattern analysis, ... error. Pattern analysis. Error. Computer cannot determine their strategy. Vorthak watched the human ships move. They flew in no pattern at all. Some went left, some went right, some flew straight up. Some flew straight down. One human ship was flying backward while shooting forward. Another was spinning like a top, while firing in all directions. This is chaos, Vorthak said. How can they coordinate an attack like this? The human ships hit his formation from 12 different directions at once. His own ships did not know where to aim. Their targeting computers kept trying to predict where the humans would go next. But the humans kept changing direction for no reason. A small human fighter flew directly at Vorthak's flagship. All the ship's guns aimed at the tiny vessel. Fired enough energy to vaporize a mountain? Human ship should have been destroyed instantly. Instead, it flew through the gap between 2 energy beams and crashed into the flagship's shield generator. The human pilot had somehow calculated the exact moment when the shields would have a weak spot. Impossible, Vorthak whispered. No pilot is that good. But then he saw something even more impossible. The human fighter was badly damaged from the crash. It should have exploded. Instead, the pilot ejected from his cockpit and used his personal rockets to fly toward another part of the flagship. He is trying to attack our ship with just a spacesuit, the tactical officer said. This makes no sense. The human pilot landed. On the ship's hull, he had nothing but small tools and some explosive charges. Against a massive warship, he should have been helpless. But he found a maintenance hatch that the ship's designers never thought anyone would reach. He planted his explosives and destroyed an important sensor. One man in a spacesuit had just damaged a ship that carried 50,000 crew members. All ships, Vorthak ordered. Fall back to defensive positions. Use the computer prediction system to counter their attacks? The computers could not help. Every time they tried to predict what the humans would do, the humans did something different. The battle computers had been programmed with thousands of years of military history. They knew every battle tactic ever used by every species in the galaxy. None of that knowledge worked against humans. A group of human ships charged straight at his battle line. The computers predicted they would spread out and attack from multiple angles. Instead, they stayed together and flew directly into the center of his formation. They took massive damage, but managed to confuse his ships so badly that several of them accidentally shot each other. Admiral, the communications officer said. The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies. Put it on speakers. A human voice filled the bridge. It was calm and friendly, like someone talking about the weather. Hello there, alien friends.
Oh.
This is Captain Rodriguez of the Earth ship Crazy Horse. I just wanted to let you know that we are having a great time out here. Your ships are really pretty, especially like the big one with all the fancy lights. We are going to try something fun now. Hope you enjoy the show. The transmission ended. Vorthak felt confused. The human sounded like he was having fun. Like this was all some kind of game. What does he mean by something fun? Vorthak asked. He got his answer a few minutes later. 20 human ships formed a circle around one of his heavy cruisers. They started flying around it in a spiral pattern. While shooting at it, the cruiser tried to target them, but they were moving too fast and too randomly. Its guns could not track them. But that was not the strange part. The strange part was that the humans were also shooting at each other. Not on purpose, but they did not seem to care. Several human ships took damage from their own allies. Instead of stopping the attack, they just kept going. They are willing to hurt themselves to hurt us, the tactical officer said. What kind of warriors do this? The answer came when one of the human ships was badly hit by friendly fire. Its engines were damaged and it was spinning out of control. Any sane pilot would have pulled back for repairs. Instead, the damaged human ship used its spin to fly directly into the alien cruiser. The collision destroyed both ships, but it also created debris that damaged 3 more alien vessels. He used his own ship as a weapon, Vorthak said. Even after his allies damaged it, more human ships were doing impossible things. One group flew directly into the path of his fleet's energy weapons. They took terrible damage, but their sacrifice allowed other human ships to get close enough for devastating attacks. Human torpedo boats somehow got inside the shield bubble of one of his destroyers. Instead of firing torpedoes, the human pilot rammed his entire ship into the destroyer's engines. Both ships exploded, but the human had taken out a vessel 10 times larger than his own. Admiral, his second-in-command, said, "We are losing ships. Faster than they are? How is this possible? We outnumber them 6 to 1. Vorthak studied the battle. His ships were fighting logically. He tried to minimize damage while maximizing their firepower. They followed proven tactics that had worked. For thousands of years, the humans ignored all of that. They fought like they were already dead. They used their own damaged ships as weapons. They sacrificed themselves to create opportunities for their allies. They turned every disadvantage into an advantage by doing things that no computer could predict. They are not fighting to preserve their ships, Vorthak realized. They are fighting to destroy ours. They do not care what happens to them, as long as we lose more. A new group of human ships approached his flagship. These ships were already damaged from earlier battles. He should have retreated for repairs. Instead, they were accelerating toward his position. Admiral, the tactical officer, said,
Those
"Human ships are on a collision course. Are not slowing down. Shoot them down." "We are trying, sir." But they keep changing direction, and they are using their own damaged ships as shields. Vorthak watched in horror as the human ships got closer. They flew in patterns that made no sense. They covered each other with their own damaged hulls. When one ship was destroyed, the others used the explosion to hide their approach. "All ships retreat," Vorthak ordered. "Full speed. We cannot fight." Enemies who used death as a strategy. As his fleet ran away, he heard another human transmission. "This is Captain Martinez of the Free Earth Alliance. To any alien commanders listening, we want you to understand something. You think we are crazy because we are willing to die in battle. You are wrong. We do not want to die. But we have learned something that you have not. Sometimes the only way to protect what you love is to be willing to lose everything for it." The transmission paused. "You fight to preserve your ships and your lives. We fight to preserve our freedom and our future. That is why we will always be more dangerous than you expect. Remember this when you decide whether to fight humans again." Vorthak looked at his fleet status. He had started with 200 ships. Now, he had 143. The humans had started with 37 ships. They now had 20-2. He had lost more ships while having a massive advantage. "Set course for home," he ordered, "and send a message to command. Tell them that humans do not fight like any species we have ever encountered. They fight like the universe itself is trying to kill them, and they have decided to kill it back." He paused and looked at the retreating human ships. "And tell them that if we ever fight humans again, we need to assume that every one of them is willing to die to make sure we lose." The Council of Minds gathered in the deepest chamber of the hegemony homeworld. 23 of the galaxy's greatest military strategists sat around a circular table made of pure crystal. Each one represented a different species. Each one had centuries of battle experience. They were all afraid. General Kethfer activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Images of human soldiers appeared in the air above them. Battle footage from dozens of conflicts. Reports from commanders across the galaxy. We've been studying these humans for 6 months, Kethfer said. What we have learned changes everything we thought we knew about warfare. Strategic Commander Velthor from the Nexus Empire leaned forward. Her 6 eyes focused on the display. Show us the worst one. Kethfor pressed a control. The hologram changed to show a damaged human ship floating in space. The vessel was called the Endurance. Half of its hull was gone. Its engines were dead. Life support was failing. This recording came from the Battle of Kepler Station, Kethfer said. The human ship was surrounded by 8 enemy vessels. It had no weapons left, no way to escape. Watch what happens next. The recording showed the human captain appearing on the main screen. She was a young woman with short dark hair. Blood ran down her face from a head wound. Behind her, the bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force, she said. Her voice was calm and steady. My ship is dying. My crew is dying. You have maybe 10 minutes of air left? The alien commanders watched in silence. But before we die, Captain Chen continued, I want to send a message to every species in this galaxy. You think you understand what humans are? You think we are just another weak race that got lucky with technology? You are wrong. She paused and looked directly at the camera. We are the species that crawled out of caves and decided to reach for the stars. We are the species that looked at diseases that killed millions and said, no, we will cure them. We are the species that found a universe trying to kill us every day and decided to make it our home. The captain's ship shook as enemy weapons hit it. She did not even flinch. Want to know what makes humans dangerous? It is not our weapons or our ships, it is this. We do not fight just to win battles. We fight to win wars. We fight to win the future. And we will never, ever give up. Commander Velthor whispered. What is she doing? Captain Chen smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just made a terrible decision. Computer, broadcast this message on all emergency frequencies. Shh. Make sure everyone can hear it, yes, Captain? To every human ship in this sector, this is Captain Chen. I am about to show these aliens what humans do when they have nothing left to lose. Learn from this. Remember this. Make them pay for every star they try to take from us. The recording showed the captain's ship moving toward the enemy fleet. It should not have been able to move. Its engines were destroyed. But somehow, the humans had found a way to make it drift in the right direction. How are they moving? Asked General Vexwan from the Outer Rim. They used their remaining life support systems as propulsion, Kethfer explained. They vented their air supply to push the ship forward. The crew was suffocating, but they used their last breath to attack. The human ship reached the enemy formation. It exploded. The explosion was much bigger than it should have been. They overloaded their reactor, Kethfer said. The captain sacrificed her ship and crew to destroy 3 enemy vessels and damage. For more, the recording ended. The hologram faded. That is what we are fighting, Kethfer said. Beings who turn their own deaths into weapons. Strategic Commander Mordok from the Silicon Brotherhood spoke for the first time. One ship. Crew, it was just one example. No, Kethfer said. Shh, it was not. He activated another recording. This one showed a human ground soldier. The man was trapped under fallen rocks after an enemy bombardment. Both his legs were broken, could not move. Enemy soldiers approached his position. The human should have surrendered. Instead, he activated a recording device. This is Sergeant Mike Torres, 3rd Marine Battalion, the soldier said. If you are watching this, it means I am probably dead. I want you to know something. The aliens who killed me think they have one. They think that killing one human soldier means something. The sergeant reached for a grenade on his belt. They are wrong. Every human who dies fighting these invaders makes the rest of us angrier. Every fallen soldier becomes a reason for 10 more to fight harder. You cannot break us by killing us. You can only make us more determined. From the Grenade. My name is Michael Torres. I am from Denver, Colorado, Earth. I had a wife named Lisa and a daughter named Emma. Remember my name? Remember that I was here? When you fight these aliens, remember that they killed me and everyone like me. The explosion took out the approaching enemy squad. Another example, Stvelthor. Kethfer showed recording after recording. Human pilots flying damaged ships into enemy positions. Human soldiers fighting with broken weapons and bleeding wounds. Human crews broadcasting final messages as their ships died. But the messages were not cries for help. They were not pleas for mercy. They were promises of revenge. I am Lieutenant Commander Jackson. Remember that name? Remember that humans were here? This is Colonel Martinez. Tell my people that we held the line. Tell them to make these aliens pay. Captain Williams, Earth Fleet. We are outnumbered 50-1. We are going to lose. But we are going to hurt them so badly that they will remember this day forever. Each human who died left a message. Each message was a challenge. Each challenge became part of human military legend. They're building a mythology, said Strategic Commander Zareth from the Crystal Worlds. Every death becomes a story. Every story becomes inspiration for more fighters. Exactly, Kethfer said. Look at this. The hologram showed recent human recruitment videos. They featured the recorded final words of dead soldiers. Young humans watched these messages and volunteered to fight, not despite the danger, but because of it. They are using death as a recruitment tool, Velthor said in amazement. They show their people how their soldiers die, and it makes more of them want to fight. The opposite of every other species in the galaxy, Kethfer said. When we see our soldiers die, we become afraid. When humans see their soldiers die, they become angry. The final recording showed a human general addressing his troops before a battle. The soldiers were young. Most looked scared, but they listened to every word. You all know the stories, the general said. You know about Captain Chen and the Endurance? You know about Sergeant Torres and his final stand? You know about all the humans who died fighting for our freedom? The general paused. Today, you might join them. Today, you might become another story for future soldiers to remember. If that happens, make sure your story is worth telling. Make sure that when you die in a way that makes the enemy afraid to face the next human who comes after you. Soldiers cheered. They were cheering for the chance to die in battle. This is their secret, Kethfer said to the assembled commanders. They do not fight to preserve their lives. They fight to preserve their memory. They believe that how they die matters more than whether they die. He turned off the hologram. It turned death into victory. As long as one human remembers the story of a fallen soldier, that soldier has not truly lost. And there are 8 billion humans who remember these stories. The council chamber was quiet for a long time. Finally, Commander Velthor spoke. What do we do about an enemy that becomes stronger every time we kill them? Kethfer looked around. The table at the 23 greatest military minds in the galaxy? We try very hard not to make them any angrier than they already are. General Kethfer walked slowly through the corridors of Neutral Station 7. His forearms felt heavy at his sides. Each step was harder than the last. In all his 200 years of military service, he had never done anything this difficult. He was going to ask for help from the humans. The station floated in empty space between the hegemony and human territories. It was designed for peace talks and trade negotiations. Today, it would host the most important meeting in galactic history. Kethfer stopped outside the conference room door. Through the window, he could see 3 humans sitting at the far end of a long table. They looked so small and weak. It was hard to believe these creatures had changed warfare forever. The door opened automatically. Kethfer entered and sat across from the humans. Between them, the table felt like an ocean. Human in the center was a woman. She looked to be in her 40s, though with humans it was hard to tell. Her short gray hair was neatly combed. Her dark eyes were calm but alert. Most disturbing of all, she was missing her left arm and had artificial eyes that glowed softly. Blue, General Kethfer, she said. Her voice was polite but not friendly. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Kethra felt his blood freeze. This was the same Captain Chen from the recorded message. The one who had sacrificed her ship and crew to destroy enemy vessels. The one who should have died 6 months ago. You survived, he said before he could stop himself. I did, Admiral Chen replied. My crew did not. 37 good people died because someone decided humans were too dangerous to leave alone. She gestured to the other humans at the table. This is General Martinez and Colonel Williams. You may have seen their final transmissions as well. Kethfer looked at the other 2 humans. Martinez was missing his right leg and had burn scars across half his face. Williams had only one eye, and her left hand had been replaced with a mechanical one. You all should be dead, Kethfer said, or Williams said with a cold smile. We got better. Admiral Chen leaned forward. You requested this meeting, General. What do you want? Kethfer activated a holographic display, showed the dark space beyond the galaxy's edge. In the emptiness, thousands of shapes moved toward the inhabited systems. The Devourers, he said. They have returned. The humans studied the display. Their faces did not change, but Kethra could sense their attention sharpen. How long, Admiral Chen asked. 6 months until they reached the outer colonies. 1 year until they reached the core worlds. General Martinez spoke for the first time. How many ships? Our scouts estimate 50,000? Maybe more? The humans exchanged glances. Colonel Williams nodded slightly. That is a lot, Admiral Chen said calmly. What do you want from us? Kethra felt ashamed. The hegemony had the largest fleet in the galaxy. Millions of soldiers, weapons that could crack planets, and they all knew it would not be enough. The Devourers do not negotiate. They do not retreat. They consume everything in their path. We have fought them before. We always lose. And you think humans can help? I think humans are the only ones crazy enough to find a way to win. Admiral Chen sat back in her chair. She looked at Kethfer for a long moment. You spent months trying to destroy us, she said. You studied our tactics and called us insane. You said we fought like we were already dead. Now you want our help. Yes. Why? Should we help you? Kethfer had prepared for this question. He had practiced his answer. But when he tried to speak, the words would not come. How could he explain that his people were terrified? How could he admit that the mighty hegemony needed help from beings they had considered primitive? Because, he finally said, if the Devourers win, there will be no one left to remember any of us. Admiral Chen's artificial eyes glowed brighter for a moment. She was thinking. General, she said, do you know why humans fight the way we do? Are not afraid to die? Wrong. We are terrified of dying. Every single one of us wants to live. We want to see our families again. We want to go home. She pointed to the holographic display. But there are things worse than death. There are things worth dying to prevent. The Devourers represent everything we hate. They destroy without reason. They consume without purpose. They take away choice and hope and future. General Martinez leaned forward. You think we fight because we want to die? You are wrong. We fight because we want others to live. Colonel Williams nodded. Every time one of us dies in battle, it is so that somewhere else someone gets to keep breathing. Someone gets to see their children grow up. Someone gets to have a future. Admiral Chen stood up and walked to the window. Outside, stars glittered. In the darkness, the Devourers do not just kill, she said. Erase. They make it like you never existed at all. No memories, no stories, no meaning. She turned back to face Kethfer. That is why we will help you. It's not because we forgive what you did to us, not because we trust you. But because some fights are bigger than the people fighting them, Kethfer felt something he had not expected. Relief. Hope. What do you need from us, he asked. Everything, Admiral Chen said. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon. Most importantly, you need to be ready to fight like humans. What does that mean? General Martinez smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. It means you need to be ready to sacrifice everything to win. It means some of your people are going to die. It means you need to accept that losing ships and soldiers is the price of victory. It means Colonel Williams added. You need to stop fighting to preserve what you have and start fighting to destroy what threatens you. Admiral Chen returned to her seat. The Devourers think they understand warfare. They have fought thousands of species across the galaxy. They always win because everyone fights the same way. Everyone tries to minimize losses and preserve their forces. She leaned forward. We are going to teach them what happens when they face an enemy that fights to win at any cost. We are going to show them what humans do when someone threatens everything we care about. Kethver felt a chill run through his body. For months, he had been afraid of fighting humans. Now, he was going to fight alongside them. What is the plan? He asked. Admiral Chin's artificial eyes glowed brighter. The plan is simple. The Devourers expect us to meet them at the edge of the galaxy and fight a defensive war. They expect us to fall back slowly while they consume system after system. She activated her own holographic display, showed the human fleet positions. Instead, we are going to do what humans do best. We are going to do something so insane that they will never see it coming. The display showed human ships moving toward the Devourer fleet, not running away, moving toward them. We are going to attack 50,000 enemy ships with everything we have. We are going to hit them so hard and so fast that they forget they are supposed to be the hunters. General Martinez grinned. We are going to remind the universe that humans are the species that looked at death and decided to make friends with it. Kethver stared at the battle plan. It was suicide. It was impossible. It was exactly the kind of thing humans would try. When do we begin? He asked. Admiral Chen stood up. The other humans stood with her. We begin now, General. Because somewhere out there in the dark, the Devourers are coming. And when they get here, they are going to learn something new. What is that? For the first time since entering the room, it looked like a real smile. They are going to learn. What happens when you threaten a species that turned death into an art form?